Okay, we have the June 6th meeting of the Conservation Commission. We'll stand and salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right. First, we have septic repairs for Monica Levy, 10 Lawrence Avenue. Anybody here for Monica Levy or Levy? Okay. Push that to a little farther on this. Good.
I guess that's one.
All right. Denise Cosgrove, 219 W Tickle Road. Okay, we'll push that one up. Next, we have Eric Martin, notice of intent, 126 South Shore Road, reconstruct driveway and repair beachfront. Anybody here for Mr. Martin?
Eric.
Come on up.
Come on up, Eric, to the podium.
Eric.
Do you have the green cards for this?
Yes.
All right.
Just introduce yourself, Eric. I can take it over from there if you want.
My name's Eric Martin,
Where's the property located, Eric?
126 South Shore Road.
Thank you very
West
much.
Block.
Mr. Chairman, Eric Martin has filed for a notice of intent application. Mr. Martin's the new owner of the property in the past couple of years. This notice of intent application is pending file number. We have received the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species comments for the property. Report is dated May 18th, 2023. Description of the work. The owner has filed to restore their beach trailer lot located on South Shore Road. The site was washed out during the December 23rd storm. The site has an access on South Shore Road, of which washed out. The limited area of the trailer lot existing on is at the end of South Shore Road between mean high water and the actual roadway. The owner has filed to restore the road under the beach maintenance filing. The site does have an active piping plover nest currently on site. The application is pending. Rather, we do have NHE's approval. Scratch that. The owner has installed their trailer on the lot after being informed of the active nesting site. Displacement and or use of the trailer under the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species guidance can be considered harassment of the piping plovers. The owner needs to be aware that they are not allowed to utilize the area within 100 yards of either side of the nest. The radius would not allow the use of the trailer lot at this time. Beach nourishment in this application must be sand that is compatible with the existing, and it must meet the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species specific guidelines for access and reconstruction. We recently got comments from National Heritage supporting Mr. Martin's approval of the project contingent on their standard 6 conditions. I'm not sure if Eric read it through, but it basically says you have to honor the plover's locations. The material must be of compatible beach materials. Use of the property is limited during activity on the site is April 1st to August 31st, as far as for the placement of beach materials and such has to be done before that. So there's standard conditions. I would like to recommend to the Commission this evening, the Westport Conservation Commission should approve with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species conditions. At this time, we're pending a file number with the office to be contacted to verify the source of sand is compatible before the placement on the lot. And I just want to make record to you, Eric, I'm not trying to restrict your use of your property, but you got to be cautious when you do have that plover that close, if you know what I'm saying, okay? I recommend you try to get to the site earlier in the year and start getting things right on April. They give you the window to be down there, trying to make activity down there. So even if you go on the weekend, because the beach is finding the same thing. If they leave an area inactive, the plovers are almost sure to, you know. So this, again, does make some activity difficult for you, but I think if you understand that, it should be all right.
Yeah.
So you don't let your dog run around or stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't have a dog.
And there's another nest, you know, further to the east of your lot, on the other side. So there's actually 2 nests in that area, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
And, so I have to verify the material is appropriate?
Yeah, there's a certain, for the sand, you've got two different sections. You're putting material on the road, and plus you're putting a little sand area around the trailer, correct?
The road is mostly not on my property, it's mostly just the trailer lot itself.
Okay, all right. So in the barrier location, you have to use compatible material, except what is on the roadway.
Okay.
So they kind of conditioned it to be a certain material on the road, but the sandy areas adjacent to your trailer should be of that compatible sand, okay?
Okay, I just have to check myself, or I have to verify with?
You have to contact me and I'll give you a source. There's a couple sources we already have verified as compatible material,
Okay,
all right?
right.
Could you have them provide receipts after for the material?
No.
No.
And this is periodic. I mean, this year his lot got wasted. Next year we may not have, so Eric is understanding the circumstances with the lot, and this is why I suggested he have the permit in place, because next year he can just make a phone call and be all ready to get that material delivered and the work done.
All right, any questions, table guys?
I'm just curious is about the road construction and whether there's any conditions placed on that, or is it just simply putting, it's not sand that's going down there, right?
No, it's a gravelly material, which, there's two owners here, so Gil Denise has access on the beginning, and then Mr. Martin has the far end between Joan Quinn, so there's actually the three lot owners. Mrs. Quinn is very elderly, I don't think she's using the lot. Mr. Denise has an active permit, so he upgraded the road to that point. Now, to get to Mr. Martin's lot, you still can do it, but the roadway's been eaten out along its edge, so he has to just add a little more material.
Okay.
So the majority of what Mr. Martin is utilizing is the road layout.
Okay.
Mean high water
I
has
see.
taken up so much of the former property that
Right.
it's moved everything inland.
Okay. Well, if you're comfortable with.
Yeah, the
just-
conditions, like I said, that Natural Heritage has
Yeah, right.
specified will become
Right.
part of the approval as well.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any questions from the audience? Do you have any questions, Mark?
No.
All right, do you have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
You know what it's Jake and Jason. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. In memory.
I'll be mailing that out to you, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay, let me see it.
Lenny. Lenny, are you doing Monica Levy and Denise Cargrove?
I'm just doing one.
Okay, why don't you come on up? Monica Levy, 10 Lawrence Avenue. This is a septic repair. I'll leave it there.
One part of Westport Environmental Design here for Monica Levy. The location is 10 Lawrence Avenue, which is down off of Cape Bio Lane off Main Road. The existing house is shown here on the northern side of the lot. There are two cesspools, one located here, one here. And the proposal is to eliminate the cesspool, install a 1,500 gallon tank, combination pump chamber, and pump it up to a leach area toward the southern part of the lot. The wetlands follows pretty much the line you see here and along the wall. So the 100-foot buffer zone ends up in the short dotted line here. The leach field, for the most part, is out of the buffer zone. There is some grading in the buffer zone, 81 feet away from that wetlands edge. The septic tank is gonna go in, that's gonna be about 35 feet from the wetlands edge at the closest point. There's no change in grades at that point. There's some grading on the leaching field, the 3-to-1 slope going down toward the wetlands again to the 81 feet. That'll contain the effluent, and that's pretty much it. So we'll just replace the two cesspools with a combination tank pump chamber into a stone-fed leaching field. The Board of Health's already approved this plan, subject to conservation approval.
All right, thanks, Lenny.
Mr. Chairman, this is Monica Levy, 10 Lawrence Ave. Request for determination of applicability has been filed by Westport Environmental Design. Len Potter is here representing. The report date was May 18, 2023. Agencies required, as Len mentioned, Board of Health has approved. Detailed description of the property. The owner has filed to upgrade the sewage disposal system on the property. The existing cesspools will be pumped and filled in place. The new septic tank, pump chamber, and a small section of the leaching field falls within a 100-foot buffer zone. The wetlands existing are located on the east side of an existing field stone wall. The plan is not showing any erosion controls. So that's the only thing I asked you to give me a revised plan. Recommendations: Westport Conservation should approve the sewage disposal repair in the buffer zone with a negative box 3 determination with a revised plan submitted showing the erosion controls.
Any questions on it? You good? All right, any questions from the table? If not, motion.
Motion to approve.
Jake,
Second?
Phil. All's in favor? Opposed? Thanks,
You're
Ed.
welcome, Lynn.
Anybody in here for Denise Cosgrove? Okay, next we have Christy Souza, notice of intent, 169 Robert Street, replace failed septic system and clean a lot of debris, loam and seed in buffer zone. Anybody have Christy Souza?
George, are you?
Give me notification card, George. All right, thank you.
We did get a file number.
It's 2689.
Correct.
When you're ready, George, go ahead and start.
Yeah, good evening, guys. For the record, my name is George Ayub. I designed the septic system and filled out a notice of intent at the subject location. Currently, there is an existing 3-bedroom house on the property, and it has a tight tank, which is about 3,000 gallon tank. It's about 15 feet in the ground. Most likely it is damaged, could be cracked, infiltrating in and out of that tank. We did a perk test on the property and designed a septic system that meet all the requirements. The Board of Health already approved it, and it meets all the state requirements also. Unfortunately, the owner took some advantage over there. He knocked down some old buildings on the property and did some work. As a matter of fact, Chris was over there last week and met one of the adjacent property owner and determined that how we want to resolve the situation. That's it. I mean, we're hoping to get negative, approval from you, and we'll do whatever is necessary to resolve.
All right, Chris.
Mr. Chairman, Christy Souza, 169 Robert Street, notice of intent, filed by GTA Engineering, George Ayub. Report date is May 31st, 2023. We just received the file number today with no adverse comments. It's SE 802689. I think this is pending Board of Health. Detailed description of the work. A site review was conducted with the engineer and the owner at the site located at Sawdy Pond. The owner has initiated some cleanup of the yard prior to the NOI submittal. The work was the removal of an old shed, a koi pond, and numerous pieces of metal debris located in the rear yard. The removal of this debris disturbed the buffer zone to Sawdy Pond. The owner will be correcting the disturbance by grading and loaming and seeding after the sewage disposal system is installed. The current tank system was designed too deep and has intercepted groundwater. The system requires pumping monthly. This design will remove the current tank and fill the area. The new tank will be pumped with a pump chamber will be installed 72 feet from the edge of the pond. The leaching area will be designed meeting the 50-foot setback from the pond and will be approximately 55 feet away. Minor grading with a small retaining wall will be installed to control the grading around that leaching area. Erosion controls are currently in place, staked along the edge of the pond, as you saw in the photo. That massive pile of debris is from a shed, and I guess the property became very overgrown over the years, and numerous things just kept putting in the backyard. So a cousin intervened for his cousin and initiated this activity. And as you can see, he got a little carried away along the pond. So part of my conditions, I spoke to them at the site, as George mentioned, and it's to remove that stone that they put along the edge of the pond and that fill. I discussed the fact that you would need a Chapter 91 license because that materials are getting very close to mean high water of Saudi Pond, and that's something that's not permittable. Again, the person responded. He installed the erosion controls, and I would like to recommend tonight the Westport Conservation should approve the project with the sewage disposal system approval pending Board of Health and receiving the disturbed buffer zone along the pond. All debris from the shed demolition disposed of and removed from the site, and removal of any excess stone removed from the pond edge area. That is all, Mr. Chairman.
So those large boulders and all that dirt were put there?
Yes.
Subsequent to them grubbing the area?
Yes, it was in the process of trying to, again,
What was there before?
overgrown vegetation, debris, boat trailers. I think there's a few old cars, some jet skis. You couldn't even see the backyard at one point, so all the vines and the overgrown material. And then in the process, these boulders were lined up along the side of the house, and he kind of moved them to kind of provide a better raised backyard, I guess you could say.
All right, does this plan show the grading and what's gonna be done?
Yep,
The final plan?
and we're gonna condition it in the order, so it's spelled out correctly.
Anybody have any questions? Phil, by the way, has this been approved, the septic?
I can't remember. George, did you say it was?
He did approve.
Yeah, okay.
It was approved, Board of Health.
Can't remember these. There are a bunch of them now that Matt just approves in his office without it coming before the board, so.
Just for the record, this is, this location is outside the Westport River watershed area.
Uh-huh.
All right. Any other questions, guys? Any questions from the audience?
Yes,
Okay, you want to come up here and state your name and,
my name's Roger LePage. I live.
you can stand right at the podium, say at the podium, but they like to get your face on camera.
Chris and I talked, and the contractor is supposed to alleviate the problem near my property. Basically, I have a small beach.
You the next door neighbor?
Excuse me?
You're the next door neighbor?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a small beach where I launch my boat from, and he piled a bunch of boulders over there. And the way he pitched the yard, it's all coming right towards my beach. He has put some erosion stuff there. I pulled it and protecting my beach a little bit better. I think he needs to put some along my property line. And I took pictures of everything, and I'd like just to submit them, so if he doesn't follow the plan that Chris and I and him discussed, that I'll have some kind of recourse.
Okay, that'd be great. And George, I mean, you guys know that you can't drain the water from your property on somebody else's property, do it? You gonna fix that?
We'll take care of it, yeah.
Okay.
That's part of the area that I referenced in my photo-wise, was for that northerly boundary that Mr. LePage shares with this property owner.
All right. So if it's not fixed accordingly, just keep in contact with Chris.
Okay, I only have one more question. Are they gonna put the septic system in before he alleviates this problem, or is it gonna be done after?
Well, they're gonna seed it after, so I'm assuming the septic's gonna go in first.
And they can drive over the septic system?
The septic's gonna be tucked in the corner. They should be able to get around the leaching field, no problem.
All right, Chris, thanks.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Comments? All right, so we have a motion?
So I'll move to approve the septic sewage disposal system, subject to conditions in the order of conditions to restore the area and ensure that runoff from the site does not go into the neighbor's property.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Paul Doran, notice of intent, 102 East Beach Road, beach maintenance. Anybody here for Mr. Doran? Come on up, sir. How you doing tonight?
Hi. My name is Paul Doran.
Mr. Dorn, before we go, do you have the abutter notification cards?
Well, I sent them all out.
Do you have the receipts that you sent them out?
I don't know if I got any back. I got a couple of phone calls, but,
Well, when you sent them out, they gave you the receipts at the post office?
oh, God.
I know we notified.
I'm sure you did.
I know we notified. Do you have any return receipts?
Well,
All the white ones that they make you fill out?
There they are, right there.
Bingo, yeah.
Bango. Thank you,
Nice.
Paul.
Thank you, sir. Okay, please continue.
so we've had this land for 70 years on East Beach Road. In fact, my father built a house in 1954. And he finished it in the end of August, and it was gone. Anyway, a lot of history down there. We just want to be able to use it.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Duran. Paul Duran, 102 East Beach Road. Mr. Chairman, this is a notice of intent application. Report date is May 19th, 2023. Natural heritage endangered species comments are pending. Detailed description of the work. The owner has filed to allow beach nourishment on the lot as needed. The site was washed out on the December 23rd storm. The beach nourishment must be compatible sand as is existing. The owner has complied with the Westport Conservation Commission requirement to have active water conditions on these trailer lots. It is recommended that prior to adding any beach nourishment, the owner contact office and verify the source of materials to be placed on the beach. Again, Mr. Duran's been very cooperative, Mr. Chairman. Recommendations, the Westport Conservation Commission should approve the request to allow beach nourishment with a contingent on Mass DEP file number, natural heritage endangered species comments. In a condition, the officers is contacted to verify the source of the beach nourishment before use.
All right. So basically he's saying that, you know, his recommendation is to approve it, but you have two outstanding state responses that are needed beforehand, which I'm sure they'll be here in the next week or so. So we're just gonna vote on it. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, that was one, is everything back from the state?
No.
Okay, so we'll just hang tight.
Yeah, you can have this receipt back too, so receipt that back too. All right, so any comments from the audience or questions? Any comments, questions from the table? If not, a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, so it's approved, so as soon as Chris gets notice from the state, they don't have a problem with it, then he'll issue the order allowing you to do it. You just need to, when you need to nourish it, you need to just contact Chris and let him know, and just make sure you get the right material, and he can help you out with that. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, do we have, I'm gonna give you this first. We have, next on the agenda, Paul Colucci, notice of intent, 182 East Beach Road, beach maintenance.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have your notification slips? You pulled them out when you saw we got him? Or did you already have them all?
He took his.
All right.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, again, not to speak for Paul, but Paul again has been down this beach for quite some time with his family over the years. So this is Paul Colucci, 182 East Beach Road. Notice of intent application filed for trailer lot. Report date is May 19, 2023. Again, natural heritage endangered species comments are pending, as well as the file number. Detailed description of the work. The owner has filed to allow beach nourishment on the lot as needed. The site was washed out on this December 23rd storm. The beach nourishment must be compatible sand as is existing. The owner has complied with the Westport Conservation Commission's requirement to have an active order of conditions for these trailer lots. It is recommended that prior to adding any beach nourishment, the owner contact office and verify the source of materials to be placed on the beach. I didn't mention this is a barrier beach, land subject to flooding, coastal beach, and coastal dune. Recommendations, the Westport Conservation Commission should approve the request to allow beach nourishment with a contingent on Mass DEP file number and natural heritage endangered species and the office contacted to verify the beach nourishment source before use.
All right. So same thing as the last gentleman, there's 2 letters outstanding from the state. Hopefully be here soon. Once, assuming we approve it, once those letters come in, you'll get your order conditions, at which point, when you do want to do nourishment, you just gotta contact Chris first.
Yeah, I have nothing to nourish, this,
It's missing?
nothing to
This
do other
year.
than what we already did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't add any sand or anything.
All right, so we'll take a vote on that, and again, when Chris gets the state letters, we'll issue your order conditions, okay? Oh, okay, that's approved. So do we have any questions from the audience? Questions from the table? Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. So as soon as we get it, we'll let you know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Good night.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Next, we have Dwight Sylvia, notice of intent 181 East Beach Road. Expansion of existing shed and buffer zone, coastal dune, barrier beach, land subject to coastal storm flowage. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Yes, please, thank you.
No worries.
You want the receipt back?
Oh, not really.
Okay.
This young lady is from the CDC, our civil engineer, Doctor's file the NOI.
I am Allison Caesar. I'm with Civil and Environmental Consultants. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Sylvia, for 181 East Beach Road. The project or the site is a pre-existing, non-conforming, disturbed site. He already has an existing shed within 5 feet of the property line, and he's looking to raise that shed and replace it with a larger shed as well as an attached deck that would be at grade. The site is within limitations of the 100-foot buffer zone. It is within an estimated priority habitat. It's also within the coastal barrier system. We did receive a no-take from the MESA application that was submitted. And at this time, we're looking to seek Conservation Commission approval to build this new shed.
Thank you. Chris said the file number is 2685.
Thanks. I knew I had missed this one. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Dwight Sylvia, 181 East Beach Road, notice of intent application filed by CEC, Allison Caesar, on behalf of Mr. Sylvia. Report date is May 19, 2023. The file number is SE 802685. There again are comments based on activities on a barrier and coastal beach, specific to not impeding the ability of the sand to move on said lot. Description of the work, the one was cited on October 3rd, 2022 for installing a new shed on the lot with an enforcement order issued. The owner has filed a notice of intent to comply with that action of the commission. The shed is replacing a smaller shed that is shown within the new design. The applicant has raised the structure, as is suggested, 18 feet above the grade. The design shed is under the building department size that requires a permit. It is, however, closer to the property line than is allowed. It's 5 feet, but on 10 feet is required off the sidelines. The owner is required under 10.054E to obtain and apply for all obtainable permits, variances, and approvals required with respect to the proposed activity. Permits and variances required by local bylaws may include zoning variances. The large deck off the rear of the shed seems excessive for a proposed use for storage. The applicant has not demonstrated that the proposed shed will not impact the performance standards for barrier beach and coastal dunes. That is kind of specific to the comments that the state rendered. Recommendations. The Westport Conservation Commission should request the applicant continue the hearing and file with the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variance as needed for the property line setback, and provide documentation on how the shed will not adversely affect the resource area described in Mass DEP's file number issuance. and it's pretty specific. There's 4 conditions that they're required to meet. He does meet the height, but there are a few other things that they should respond to determine that this will not impact the ability of that area to function. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Do you have any comments on, what
Well,
was-
we did go through, I've been sitting in these hearings about natural heritage, they found there's no impact from the shed being on our property. This shed is being used for a water storage tank. For the last 23 years, we've been getting our water from Pointville, and the water is of terrible quality. So we decided to enlarge the shed in the same location. We would have gone the whole procedure had not been a previous shed at that location. So that's why it was, and it came under the species of being under the 200 square feet of property, size of the shed. So the purpose of the shed is basically storage of water tank or pump to allow us to have fresh water on the property, or part of the water.
This is 18 feet above sea level? It's up on,
No, it's
Okay.
18
That's not
inches.
required.
oh, 18 inches.
Correct, it's
Oh, I thought-
18 inches. So it's raised up off the ground, which is meeting the requirement
Oh, they
of,
said feet, well, that's
No.
pretty high.
I might have said feet. Sometimes you never know when you type, it's quick and slow.
Go ahead, Chris,
I was just gonna ask if you could comment on Chris's comment or the need for the large deck related to the purpose that you described.
We're going to install an outdoor shower on that deck. It's a landing, I mean, also a landing for the back door to get into the shed.
how big is it?
The shed,
No, the landing area?
6 by 10. 5 by 10, something.
No. Did dig up more stuff in the past, but down there were a few properties that had grandfathered sheds and the rest was supposed to be portable, supposed to be able to be removed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. There was discussion at times on that, and then we came out with that DEP document that rendered some ability to place sheds as long as they were 18 to 24 inches off the sand.
Okay.
Fencing was placed, it was not placed perpendicular, it didn't act as a barrier, it was raised to allow sand to move. So I think the shed allows things to move. But again, I can't govern the fact that it is closer to the property than is allowed. It is a brand-new shed. The existing one was obviously there, but that doesn't give you the rights to necessarily build a brand-new one within that same location.
So you're looking for them to go to ZBA first?
I believe he should have gone to ZBA and obtained their final approval for the location. I don't think it would be a problem. But under the permitting process he's had since October of 2022 to, again, as he mentioned, Mr. Sylvia did inquire with the building department, and that's one of the things. The building department says, no, you don't need a permit. So everybody thinks you don't need a permit, but that doesn't necessarily mean you don't need a permit with conservation, so.
What else is there? So there's the ZBA, and then what was the other, I know there was some,
He has to just give a written statement on how it meets the performance standards that the state is reflecting in their issuance of their file number. Natural Heritage did vote in favor of it for Mr. Sylvia's sake. This is on the inland side of East Beach. Piping plovers are not active on this side of the property, so that is why you would get a more favorable decision from them on this particular location.
all right, so you're just looking for the statement to answer the questions from the notice of intent file number from DP and the ZBA approval?
Correct.
Oh, now you don't have any real issues with the project?
I really don't have issues with the shed, no, I don't. I think I understand the portable water situation, which we see a lot of people on Cherry and Webb doing this a little differently. They're kind of more on the tranquil side of things, but a lot of people are doing similar things. They put a, 1,500 to 3,000 gallon tank, whatever they can get, in order to have quality water, because the water is tannic and it's very smelly and
Yeah,
obviously.
you've been down East Beach Road in the summertime, a lot of people have these things sitting outside of the
Right,
trailers.
the big poly tanks.
That's
Yeah.
horrible looking.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't want that. We just,
No.
we wanted to enclose the shed with a pump, so, it
All right.
complies with the property. We didn't, you know, given what the website says about, you know, the size of the building and stuff, we didn't think we needed to go any further than that. Building permit, I would be happy to come here and apply for a building permit. I have a building permit for the house that we just built there.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a building permit for the, I think it's just the proximity to the property line is what the issue is.
Well, being where there was an existing shed there, I didn't think that was gonna be a problem. But I have no problem, whatever procedures we
All
need.
right, so I mean, so Chris has stated that he's looking, and I'll let the rest of the commission speak to, but he's looking for a ZBA approval and then a written statement for our file, just answering the questions, that the DEP mentioned for the notice of intent. So those are two things he's looking for, so, he's requesting you do a continuance until you get the, ZBA approval.
I'm not familiar with that procedure, are you?
So we would just have to apply for it with the ZBA.
Okay, as long as you understand the process, okay?
All right. Do we have any questions on the table? Additional questions? Any questions from the audience? All right. So we're gonna continue it, how long you think, Chris?
I would say the second meeting in July, we're scheduled for the 4th, that one's not gonna happen, so I'm not sure what the next one is in July then.
So the 4th is.
Which meeting are you referring to, Chris?
Here.
July. We're continuing here for you, so you can get to the ZBA,
So the 4th or the 18th.
which they should allow you 4 weeks, I think you
Yeah.
could get to them.
So I'm not gonna be here on the 4th.
Thank you guys plenty of time to do the paperwork, Allison.
Alternatively.
The
if we-
18th, Mr. Chairman, would be our next meeting.
Interested in moving the shed, because if we move the shed away from 10 feet, then you don't have to.
The sheds are sitting on.
Yeah, I don't think they'll make you move it in the condition.
Yeah, no, I don't think, yeah. All right, so we'll continue to July 18th. If that's not enough time, we can just move it for another week, couple of
Okay.
days. All right, so we're looking for a motion to continue the hearing for 182 East Beach Road. I'm sorry, for,
58.
wrong one.
181.
Yeah, 181 East Beach Road for Dwight Sullivan. To the 18th of July.
So moved.
I second it.
All right, all's in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we'll see you back on the 18th. If you're not gonna make it because the ZBA didn't get to you, just let Chris know.
Thank
And
you.
we'll continue it. Thank you, sir.
We're also gonna look for that
Thanks, Allison.
statement, right?
What's that?
We're also gonna look for that statement about the conditions.
Well, yeah, she's gonna write something.
Yeah,
Okay,
All right, Allison's gonna put something together to answer the
DEP comments, yes.
okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night. Next we have Selma and Naviz Salem, Salim, notice of intent, 58 East Beach Road, beach maintenance. Anybody here for the Salims? Okay, we'll push that out.
I'll do it for him, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
This is an East Beach lot.
We have, no, public.
Forget it, okay.
Okay,
Move.
so we're gonna push that to the end of the meeting. Next, we have Shane Souza, Anrad, Zero Drift Road, to determine if resource areas depicted on the plan are accurate. Greg, how are you?
What about out next door?
This gentleman's in the audience, too.
All right.
Okay, for the record, Greg Nicholas of South Coast Engineering for Shane Souza, property at Riff Road. This is a parcel of land that was formerly owned by Donald Marcotte, and it's directly west of the land that the town owns and is used by the town highway department for whatever they use it for. What is down here, we're about a mile south of that Westport. So what we have on this property for resource areas, we have two BVWs, and it's delineated here on the plan from wetland flag 101 to wetland flag 134. We also have another down here on the southeast side of the property, which is delineated from wetland flag 201, breaks here, goes off the property, picks up again from 206 here, 207, to where it closes as shown. This plan represents the changes that were made in the field based upon the agent's site visit. A few minor adjustments were made, and they are shown on this plan. That's pretty much all I have to know.
All right, Chris?
Mr. Chairman, Shane Souza. This comes with a 0 Drift Road address, but it's map 52, lot 20A. This is an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, presented here by South Coast Engineering, Greg Nicholas. Report date is June 1st, 2023. We're still pending a file number on this. The site visit was also with Greg on May 31st, 2023. Detailed description, the owner has filed to have the resource areas determined on the property located off Drift Road. The site is accessed by a right-of-way laneway and is abutting the town's parcel that exists along the Westport River. The property is mostly an open field area with the wetland areas within the wooded edges. The wetlands were identified in 2 locations on the site. The first area was delineated with wetland flags 101 through 134. This BVW area is located behind the existing residence off Drift Road. The area had changes to the wetland flags, and these changes have been revised on the plan. The second wetland area is located to the south portion, adjacent to the town's parcel. This area is smaller and delineated with wetland flags 201 through 207. This area, although appears to be isolated, actually seeps out of the slope and flows off-site. This area also had minor changes to the flag locations and revised on the plan that you see before you. Recommendations: the Westport Conservation Commission should approve the delineation with the issuance of an order of resource area delineation, approving the wetlands as shown on the plan revised dated May 31st, 2023, pending file number.
Any questions, Greg?
The only thing I'd add is that, Mr. Holmes said there is an existing right of way over here, but the property does have frontage on this road, so it's not accessed by right of this right of way, it does have its own garage.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions from the table? Questions from the audience?
Yeah, I have one about the right of way.
Could you just come on up here and state your name, sir?
Well, on behalf of my mother, Mary Ferrera, and
All
trust,
right, just stand over, because they have cameras on, so they want you to quote it.
and the trust does have a right of way to the Westport River, so I just wondering if there'll be a change there, or I just, you know, we use that lane frequently since 1959.
So this ANRAD is only to delineate the wetlands, it's not actually showing what's gonna be done with it. They have to come back and they file a notice of intent, which will show what they're gonna do with the property, at which point, that's when they'll show, you know, potentially what usage of the laneway may have, may not have.
Yeah.
So I can't answer that question for you right now.
All right, so as long as we can get to the river, you know, it doesn't matter. You're gonna put another road in down there or something to get to it?
At this point in time, I don't know, but I can answer this question,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
This right of way is not gonna be extinguished.
Yeah.
There'll always be access to it.
Yeah, as long as we got access to the river. That's about it.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, no questions, looking for a motion?
I'm going to reapprove the delineation with the issuance of an RAD approving wetlands as shown in the revised plan dated 5/31/23.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you, see you later, keep on seeing the own. All right, there's someone here for Denise Cosgrove, 219 W Tickle Road. So this is for a septic repair. State your name for me, and you can just let us know what the project is going to consist of. Good.
Yep. James Hall, representing Denise Cosgrove, Mount Hope Engineering. We fully connected an RDA. We are proposing to upgrade the system, which is currently on the, and currently in the rear yard, right on South Watauga. The cesspool's back there. We're proposing to put the treatment tank, the pump station, and pump it to the front yard to a bottomless sand filter. We'd be providing siltation barrier, pumping the old cesspool, filling it in. As you can see, the footprints, the lot's tight, so the bottomless sand filter is going to afford us, obviously with space limitations, to put that right behind the garage you see on the Tickle Road.
All right, Chris. Let me read this one, you want to take notes?
Nope, I'm good, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Denise Cosgrove, 219 W Tickle Road. This is a request for determination of applicability filed by Mount Hope Engineering with Jim Hall here representing. Report date is May 30th, 2023. This is Board of Health pending, I believe. I'm not positive. The date of the site visit was also May 30th, 2023. Description of the work: the owner has filed to replace the sewage disposal system on a property that is located on South Watuppa Pond. The site has limited area to allow all setbacks to be met. The existing cesspools will be pumped and filled in place. The new system will require the septic tanks to be installed 25 feet from the edge of the pond to meet the well setback per Title V. The system will then pump up to the leaching field that is outside the buffer zone to the pond. Erosion controls are shown around the tank locations. The work is within the lawn area. It will not require significant alteration. So, as Jim mentioned, this is the best for the scenario that is there. Recommendations: Westport Conservation Commission should issue a negative box 3 determination with pending Board of Health approval.
All right. Do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay. Phil, do you know if this is approved, or is this one of them, you know, sure?
I don't remember this one.
All right, well, either way, it's gonna be pending Board of Health.
Mhm.
So, do you have any questions or comments or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve pending Board of Health approval.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So you'll be going in front of the Board of Health here?
No.
Okay, so as soon as assuming they approve it, then you'll be all set with us. Okay, thank you. Next, we have Paul Souza, Westport Yacht Club, notice of intent, 193 Cherrywell Lane, beach maintenance, and club property.
My name is Paul Souza. I'm representing Westport Yacht Club in this case.
Mr. Souza, do you? Oh, there you go, okay.
Yeah, he did hand him in.
Good job, thank you. Do we have a drawing, I think, Chris?
No. Well, there's an old sketch I threw in there, Mr. Chairman, from the prior days of the activity down at the yacht club. Mr. Souza is just the representative for the Westport Yacht Club. Commandant, is that how you say it?
No, I'm the house chairman.
House chairman, sorry. So he is here to facilitate an actual beach nourishment, beach maintenance application. This year, again, as with everyone, kind of experienced a little bit of a rifflet that was formed within the club property and needed the ability to replace and fill that area in. So I encourage Mr. Souza to have this active permit, which will encourage him in the future years just to call us, as is similar to the East Beach trailer lot properties. So this is Westport Yacht Club, 193 Cherry and Webb Lane. Notice of intent application. Again, Paul Souza here this evening on behalf of the Westport Yacht Club. The report date is June 2nd, 2023, as well as the site visit. Detailed description: the Westport Yacht Club is filing to allow beach maintenance of the club's beach area as needed. The activity to add beach sand to the waterfront section is requested, and to be able to maintain area after storm events. The club will be required to use a compatible beach sand similar grain size as the existing. The work is not to exceed below mean high water. Again, the club has done this over the years, but again, they never maintained the permit to keep it active. So after the third year, I encourage the club to extend this to maintain it as long as they can. So recommendation: Westport Yacht Club, Westport Conservation rather, should approve the request to maintain the yacht club property after storm events with the conditions: the office is notified 48 hours prior, and sand must be compatible with existing, Mr. Chairman. That is for 193 Cherry and Webb Lane, Westport Yacht Club.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Souza?
No, I don't.
Oh, that should be pending file number 2.
So the same thing as the people on these beaches, still paying a state file.
Okay.
Before you put any sand down, you should contact Chris and let him know where you're getting it from.
Will do.
Okay. Any questions for the table? All, motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to abstain, Chris.
Yep.
All right, so that'll, as soon as your paperwork comes in from the state, Chris will let you know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.
Derek?
Who's abstaining?
Derek, say your last name for the
Say your
record.
last name for me.
As he said it.
I was working on it, and you got me there. Notice of intent, 395 Gifford Road, clear a lot, prepare for house construction in Bronxville.
There's no insult to Derek. There's too many consonants in there.
Yeah, I just need your butter notification cards, please. All right, thank you.
Very good, Derek.
You can start your presentation whenever you'd like to.
So basically, this is request for permission to clean up this, about this section of the lot. Then we put the erosion control around it. And just to clean up the lot, in order to do the topographic survey. Right now, this area is just very, that there's so much vegetation. So actually, engineer is not comfortable to do the precisely engineering. So his suggestion is just to clean up the stone, and then he would go from there. Because even I'm in process of designing the house, and now supposed to have the walkout basement, and we don't know actually exactly the height, and there's so much stuff we have to figure out now. So for now, just asking for permission to clean out this lot.
All right, Chris, you want to read your report, bro?
Yes, so what Derek was basically also stating is there will be a future filing for the home. So this is just to allow the engineer to have good site visibilities to design a proper home for the site, given the topography. So at least they're looking at those and not trying to build and then try to fill it. So I commend them for that. So this is Derek, 395 Gifford Road, notice of intent application filed by Gorodetsky Engineering. Derek is representing himself. Date of the report is June 2nd, 2023. Site visit was also on June 2nd, 2023. Description of the work: the owner has filed to allow clearing of the lot in the buffer zone area for a future single-family home. The lot has an approved order of resource area delineation that is shown for this delineation. It's approved. The lot is an approved A&R lot that is located south of Mouse Mill Road and along the Ferry Agricultural Field. The owner wishes to clear the small upland section from Gifford Road up to 25 feet from the edge of the BVW. The trees will be removed and all stumps. Owner will determine the best design home for the lot, and another notice of intent will be filed for the single-family home well and grading. Recommendation: Westport Conservation Commission should approve the clearing of the wooded lot up to 25 feet from the wetland edge. Erosion controls will be installed and be the limit of all cutting permitted. No single-family house is permitted on this approval.
All right.
Pending file number.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Any questions from the table? No questions, a motion?
So I'll move to approve, subject to the conditions set out in Chris's report.
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, so that's, we have the property on the front, right? We're good. All right, so yeah, you'll get your approval from Chris in a couple days.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
Edward and Patrick Kent, notice of intent, 1478 B Drift Road, SE 802681.
Showing us how to clear a
Clear
room, huh?
flow, gangway, maintain seawall in the riverfront area.
Everybody leaves before you can hit his gift.
We already have the green cards.
Yes, we do. This is a continuance, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening, Sean Leach for Northeast Engineers for Ed and Patrick Kent at 1478B Drift Road. This is a small cottage that has existing, bring it back up to speed. There's an existing parking area that has a concrete bunker underneath part of it that they'd like to remove and just make this a parking area. And they also want to construct a typical dock, gangway, and float. And we use size of the dock and side of the dock to meet the requirements of the Westport Conservation dock policy and also Chapter 91 licensing, which gives enough clearance for the float and gives enough clearance for high water marks. We also are adding a public access easement around the dock because there's an existing seawall here, so to get up and around the dock or get between low and high water, there is an existing easement. This was continued based on an eelgrass survey. I went out earlier, later in May, and went out earlier, did not see any. Then I went out just after Monday of this week with a kayak, and also took pictures of the bottom and found no eelgrass. Found plenty of shells and green slimy algae, but no eelgrass in the area of the dock and on either side of the dock. I think we meet the policy.
All right, thank you. Chris?
Mr. Chairman, this is Edward and Patricia Kent, 1478B Drift Road. This is a notice of intent application filed by Northeast Engineers and Consultants. Sean Leach is representing. Report date is June 1st, 2023. There is a file number, SE802681 for the project. Site visit was also on June 1st, 2023. Description of the work: the applicant has completed the eelgrass study for the proposed dock, gangway, and float. The area does not contain any eelgrass surrounding the end of the float location. The applicant's design with float stops meets the town's dock policy. Removal of an old shed structure along the front portion of the small lot. As Sean mentioned, this is like sunk in the hill. This will be removed, restored to a gravel area for continued use as parking. Recommendations: again, this was continued just for the eelgrass, pretty much survey that Sean has conducted. The recommendations, Westport Conservation Commission should approve the old shed removal in the riverfront area with the acceptance of the proposed dock, gangway, and float system on the east branch of the river with standard dock conditions and float stops required. Also, I want to make note that DMF has provided comments in response as well.
Any problems with DMF?
No, they getting crazier like DEP. No, they just put standard comments. It really, Sean didn't say he's rebuilding the seawall, but they said no concrete products, grounding of the barge, no fueling of, pretty much our standard boilerplate conditions, Mr. Chairman. And the barge has to work, not aground, and has to stay afloat with at least 2 foot of separation.
All right, any questions, Sean?
No.
Questions from the table? Motion?
Motion to approve.
You have a second?
Second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you, Sean. Okay, next we have, let's see, extension for Janet Guevara, SE 801871, 114 East Beach Road. Do we need someone here for this?
No, I'm doing this, Mr. Chairman. Janet Guevara is a person that maintains their permit on East Beach. This is 114 East Beach. This is a request for an extension. The file number SE801871. The date of the report is May 19th, 2023. The site visit was also on May 19th, 2023. The owner is requesting an extension to the existing order of conditions, file number SE801871 for 3 years. The extension request is in order. Again, this is for beach nourishment periodically on this trailer lot. So the Westport Conservation should grant a 3-year extension to file number SE801871.
Any questions? No questions or motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What happened to her desk? They took that away too?
We don't need that. It takes me, I gotta like jack that thing up, takes an hour to milk it. The wheels go like this. Yeah.
Okay, next we have Paul Pease, 112 Reed Road, certificate of compliance, that's
1985.
SE 80-302.
Yeah, baby. See?
It has a manila folder.
Wait till you see the next one we get next week. It's 175. Yeah, these people are finally selling their property after all these years. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Pease reside at 112 Reed Road. As you see, they have resided here for quite some time. Unfortunately, they have sold their property and they're moving on to Kentucky. So this report is dated June 1st, 2023. Request for a certificate of compliance by the owner for file number SE80302. This certificate of compliance is requested for a driveway access that was constructed off Reed Road. The pieces are kind of set back off Reed Road towards the Westport River, or the Bread and Cheese Brook watershed that flows down to the head of Westport. All work was completed according to the plan of record, so recommendations, Westport Conservation Commission should issue a full certificate of compliance to Paul Pease, file number SE 80-302.
Good motion.
Move to issue the certificate.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second it.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Good luck with Kentucky. Actually, it's smart.
No, he said he paid like $2 something
Yeah,
for the
get out-
house.
get out of the state.
He said the taxes are this, the electricity is that, and he said everything is almost 25%
All
cheaper.
right, so we have no one else here. I'll recall, who is it, Zelma and Nafiz Salim, notice of intent, 58 East Beach Road, beach maintenance, they're not here, so we're looking to continue that for 2 weeks. When is 2 weeks of
The June 20, no, July 4, no.
20th.
The 20th, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a whole month here, June 20th, yes.
I wish I could.
Motion to approve, motion to continue to June 20th.
Motion to continue to June 20th.
Okay, do you have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. All right, so that's gonna go to June 20th, and then the other folder we have here is Mr. Sylvia's for the ZBA, for the ZBA approval. All right, so we have some bills.
The shed.
Okay.
Is there really gonna be a storage tank going in there?
Okay.
We can put a lot of storage tanks.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we got bills to go. Here we
I
go.
know, You wanna get paid.
No more shenanigans here, I'm sorry.
Kitchen.
I told you.
There's no more shenanigans because you wanna get paid. Okay, so we have a bill for Mr. Capone for mileage, $343.87.
How many miles is that?
That is a lot.
Well, he's got multiple sheets, he makes it difficult, you know, so.
It's 3 months, no, what
Did you
is it?
just-
There's a number there right at the
It's
end.
525 miles one month, 402 miles the other month.
Do you just drive around in circles in Westport? It's a lot of miles.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's a lot of months there, sir. To be honest.
It's
not
trick
one
hunting
month.
season too,
We
so it's-
tracked it on GPS and it goes to Lexi Lou's and then it keeps going around in circles.
And it goes to Mr. Chairman's office for my payroll signature, which is 22 miles exactly. And I have to detail it down to the submittal of a Google map question, Mr. Chairman. So I am thorough.
Motion to pay.
Yes,
And I round down for everything.
Yeah, you convinced me.
I
Hello,
second
man.
that.
We have
Fortunately, I get 65 cents per mile.
all those in favor?
Did it get boosted 65?
Yeah, they bumped it up.
Did
This
approve?
year, big boost.
Well, I'll start working out of Providence, you can come see me in Providence.
Excellent.
Full of lunch, business lunch.
All right, next we have Campbell Environmental, $382.50 for the review of the project at Adamsville Road. Motion to pay, somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, do
Whatever.
you have a second? All those in favor?
All right.
All right,
Who was the motion on that? I mean,
Jason, and I think Phil, right?
Phil's fine, yeah.
Phil second,
that's George Campbell, correct?
correct. Okay, so we have, what is this one here? Oh, wait, is this another mileage? Is it another mileage?
That's a telephone, I think.
Oh, this is telephone, yeah, 3 months, February, March, and April telephone, total $180 for Mr. Capone.
Move to pay.
Okay, that's from Phil, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
All right, good. All right. WB Mason, $38.98. And pop-up notes, a lot of pop-up notes.
Motion to pay.
Second.
You need a lot of stickers today to know what the heck to do tomorrow.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. They have a thing in the computer called the calendar.
Do you?
Yeah, and you can actually schedule things and set
Reminders
Yeah.
on that?
Listen, sir, I'm getting modern.
All right.
It's my helper that at times.
As soon as you get rid of your flip phone, you'll be able to use a calendar on your
That's,
smartphone.
I have to give up my flip phone.
All right, so we have lastly, East Bay Media, which is our advertising, total of $369. which is a bargain compared to what we're paying with the other media outlets.
Yes.
So I need a motion to pay.
I move we pay that bill.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. Actually, the townspeople appreciate it because they're the ones actually paying the bill.
Raise the debt limit.
All right.
Just did one
No
of the
defaulting.
best, $250.
Yeah, it's expensive. Okay, so we have the May 9th meeting. Present was Jake, Tom, Phil, Kevin, and myself. So Jake, let's see, Kevin's here, I'm here, Phil, so we can vote on that.
Motion to approve, yeah.
Do we have a
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Clear it.
And I think that's all I have, Chris. What do you have, buddy?
Mr. Chairman, first of all, thank you for all being here today. I know we have, sometimes can't all be here, so I appreciate it on this double meeting. Thank you. We did have a couple DEP site visits. We had one for 6 Union. We've already gotten comments back. I sent them to you. I'm getting a little question in how I have interpreted the regulations at times, so I'm not sure the comments. I thought the site visit went well. I thought, you know, it would see the conditions of the site, but she had some concerns, that is the DEP reviewer, and those were reflected in those comments.
Chris, on that, can I ask a question on the crossing of that? What did they point out? I read it, but I didn't really see. Are they questioning?
They're asking what the street, which we did, but
Yeah.
once we realized that he's taking
not changing it.
He's just putting the wood over so
Yeah.
there is no need to meet stream crossing
That's what I thought.
standards. So we I find some redundancies here in what, but truthfully, I know that she saw some vegetation well up gradient from the stream edge, and given the lack of use of the property, it totally explains why you have these incidentals, but it doesn't make it a wetland. So she's asking for data sheets. So it makes it a little hard for us. The second site visit we had, a little different, was 1702 Drift Road, was for that single-family host down on that pre-existing lot. The site visit went well with similar comments about the graded and what you're allowed to do on a riverfront lot. Again, some of the comments that the reviewer made doesn't reflect to how I feel the interpreting regulations reflect. So I may see some comments on this that I didn't expect, and that more is leaning towards her interpretation is if you have a lot prior to the regulation of 96 and you don't have anything on the lot, you could apply and do 5,000 square feet of disturbance. Okay? On this lot, there's a prior existing structure of approximately 800 square feet. She says automatically it falls into the degraded category. Now, when you're in the degraded category, you're a lesser allowance of what you can do and only 10% of the degraded area. So if you only have 800 square feet, you only can do 80 square feet? No. And then she said there's restoration and mitigation, which we all have implemented before. Mitigation is 2 to 1, restoration is 1 to 1. So it's not that you can't exceed the 10%, it's that you would have to mitigate or restore the riverfront. But in this case, they have 100 feet of undisturbed vegetation, which most sites we see, they have grass right up to the river. So I found her interpretation to be a little stronger than what I think the regs, I think, have an and or in there somewhere, where if you have a lot prior to 96, whether you have a structure or not, you should be allowed to do something. You can't stop the person from having those rights. So in her heavy approach, I think it really causes people not, again, I didn't like how some of her interpretation was rendered, but.
Did you circulate that?
She hasn't come with comments
Oh,
yet.
okay.
Those are just her general
Okay,
comments
okay,
on the site,
okay,
and
okay.
when I asked her, what about, and gave her the scenarios where, like I just said to you, 10% of 800 square feet, that means that if you go to do a degraded lot, you always reflect it, you got 5,000, so if you have a big lot, you could get away with using that degraded in relation. If you have a smaller lot, then you stay within that threshold. So I thought the way we interpret it is correct, but again, this is all a learning process.
And we always heard everybody interpret it 5,000 or 10%.
And that's how I read the regs. So I think the way she's making it seem is not necessarily the same. But again, I can't see what her comments may be, but she definitely will have comments on this matter. So they are prepared to do whatever she wishes on the site, and so that will be coming as soon as those come. But when the state makes a decision for the boards, that stops their clock. So they have 120 days to make a decision. Once they ask for new information, the clock stops. And once you supply that information, the clock starts again. So this is a way for them to get proper information and make the questions that they thought weren't answered by us to be taken. So that's what I have. Leon has been out. She should be back next week, the end of this week. I have approximately 91 hours to use. I do not think I will use it by the end of June, so I most likely may not be here at the next meeting, but I will try to coordinate that with Leon and make sure the office has staff. So that's pretty much what I have right now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Lastly, for a positive note, Jake filled me in that the environmental police officers are enforcing our lease law on our town beach.
So the discussion with the EPO was, since nobody in the town is going to do it, they're going to do it.
Well, if you are correct in that interpretation, but I think what
Yeah.
gives them the rights is they are within that state jurisdiction of the waterfront, and it gives them the rights because of the plover being a federal and state protected species.
Yeah.
It gives them the right to not allow the harassment. And for people that don't realize that, it's getting kind of tiring, because these fenced areas aren't chicken wire to stop everything from going out. They're meant to allow predators and stuff to come and go. But when you let your dog take off well ahead of you, and you know, so I think it's a long time coming.
Yeah.
So maybe Facebook will trigger people to realize that there is something going on, and they've all been kicked off Horseneck. So you cannot go on Horseneck or Gooseberry.
And they kicked off Baker's.
So now, yeah, so that's what's happening. The town has been like the blunt end of all the activities. So, and the last thing, we had a meeting with Brian Corey's constituents for the proposed wells for the water supply across the street here. That we had good showing. Mr. Corey did not show, but his geologist did, as well as ours. Fish and Wildlife, Steve Hurley, the Coldwater Fisheries representative, showed up. We had a really good discussion. Everybody seemed to be, Buzzards Bay, right, and their geologist from Horsley and Witten was there. We had a very good discussion, and everyone kind of is on the same page to meet the requirements of what the commission had for them before they can install and use this well into service. So they will be placing piezometers in 3, I believe we agreed on, piezometers in adjoining areas to allow to monitor the water table as this well is pumped. They also agreed to do it in the later part of the season, which we were very urging on because of the low drought type conditions. So they are fully in favor of all that. So we will be moving forward with a submittal of a new protocol that meets those requirements, and we'll be going forward from there. That's all.
Chris, just one more question. I know I mentioned you earlier, the seal that washed up down on between Baker's and the town. What will happen with that? Because it's obviously on private land or a private landowner.
It's right in between.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's put it this way.
They're coming to get it.
Okay, thank you.
I talked to the Board of Health today. Matt said he couldn't understand what the problem was, and I explained to him that you draw predators to the seal, which in turn puts them on the beach, which causes harassment. He understood. He said, well, no big deal, Chris, the IQ, whatever.
IAFW, and just
Yeah,
for everyone's
whatever.
own notification, they came and dissected the seal and just left it completely dissected on the
Yes,
beach.
so
And they painted.
Yes, they spray painted it, but
For
dissected.
reference, they left all the innards there,
Yes.
which is a calling bell for every
Coyote.
predator.
But
and
anyone that
bear.
walks down the beach is mortified, and you see it all.
So
They
I
keep coming to
guess
us.
they have asked that these people come and either drag it into the water or bring it to Baker's.
They can access if they want through Baker's to go down and get it. 'cause
No,
that's where the
I didn't
access
mention
point.
anything, I just said
Yeah.
drag it over
What is
to
the
Baker's.
IAWF?
They're out of
It's
Yarmouth.
international
Animal
something.
welfare.
They come out of the Cape.
Yeah, Yarmouth.
Marine mammal people that do all the,
You should take it back.
it's
They-
called the necropsy when you do
Yeah.
a marine mammal.
Marine.
Yeah, they did it out there yesterday.
And necropsies are done to determine plastic, possible, what has caused the animal, maybe sea turtles usually plastic bags, so they do them, but it's usually more common that they bury it, especially in the heat of the summer.
It just
Not even in the heat of the summer, but in use of the area can be quite foul,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman,
I can imagine.
especially as the seal is slightly swollen than what it normally was.
disemboweled on the beach.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Phil, do you have anything else? I filled in?
No, that was great. I mean, just to
Okay.
say that Corey's hydrogeologist said, I was instructed to say anything you guys want, you can get, we just want to get this going. So
Beautiful.
they took everything we asked for. So we should get a lot of good information.
Good.
And even the Buzzards Bay hydrogeologist was happy with it, so, yeah.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?